Ronald Acuña Jr. got hurt last night and is going on the injured list, but this should never have happened. Let's talk about it. Yes, welcome on in to Braves Today for Wednesday, July 30th, a special bonus edition of Braves Today. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. You can follow the show on X, Braves_today. We have a Facebook page and an Instagram as well. And you can find all of my written work, bravestoday.com. That's the Braves Today Substack, as this is both a podcast and a newsletter. Second half of the show, we're going to do a shorter show today. Second half of the show, we're going to talk about Hurston Waldrep's start last night and how fantastic it was for Triple-A Gwinnett. And maybe the Braves were right to not call him up to make a major league start yesterday. But before we do that, I'm recording this in the morning on Wednesday, July 30th. The Braves have not yet made the roster move, but we know that Ronald Acuña Jr. is going to go on the injured list with what they're calling right Achilles tightness. He left last night's game. With it, was replaced by Eli White. I believe that was the 6th inning. But this should never have happened. Okay, so let's back up. Here's what we know. If you're watching earlier in the game, Ronald was really slow in when he was running in two different occasions. Okay, there was the Michael Garcia double that was overturned on review in the right field corner. It landed just to the right of the foul of the foul line, the chalk line, as it hit the wall, right? So that was ruled foul, but he was really slow to get over to the corner to get that. And then there was a ground out, a 2-out ground out with a runner on third. He hits the ball to Bobby Witt Jr., shortstop Bobby Witt Jr., and is really slow out of the box. He's not running really hard. And like you could, in a vacuum, you could think, oh, he's just that's a lack of effort. And it turns out it's probably a save your bullets kind of situation because Ronald isn't able to get to a fly ball in the right center gap off the bat of Vinny Pasquantino late in the game. In the 6th inning, this ball hung up for almost 6 seconds. I mean, this is a towering fly ball that he just cannot get over to in time to make a play. He ends up getting there right as the ball's hitting the ground, but he's not in great position, and it bounces over the wall for a ground rule RBI double. And that was the play where they go and they take Ronald out. They replace him with Eli White, who, by the way, goes 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run scored. And they announce it's right hamstring tightness, and then Brian Snitker tells us after the game, Ronald's going on the IL. Here's where the Braves screwed up. Ronald didn't hurt his Achilles on Tuesday night. He hurt it on Monday. Okay? I pulled the video from FanDuel Sports Network. We are not allowed to play that. That is copyrighted. We cannot play that on the channel. But I've got the quote here. If you want to watch the full, I believe it's a 2.5-minute clip, go over to bravestoday.com. If you click on today's 3 things from last night's game, I have the clip embedded in the Substack there. But Ronald says, in essence, that he feels that he hurt it when he was scoring from first base on Monday. And when you go back and you watch the video of that, you can see he kind of oddly extends his right leg fully as he's coming into the plate to try to, like, the stride's off a little bit, so he has to lunge a little bit to get the tag on the plate. And then his helmet comes off and kind of like falls around his feet, and he's kind of dancing around his helmet a little bit. And that's where he hurt it. But the quote from Ronald through interpreter Franco Garcia is, quote, "I told them yesterday, and everyone said, hey, take the day off if you want it. You can have the day off. But I've just missed so much time already through injuries that I don't want to miss any more time." I'm sorry. He can take the day off if he wants it? listen, I'm sure the medical team checked Ronald out. I'm sure they put him through some pregame drills to make sure he was feeling okay. But that's not how this is supposed to work, okay? In a season where the wins and losses do not matter anymore, right? Sitting Ronald for 2 days does not mean you are going to go from a playoff team to a non-playoff team, or go from winning the division to a wild card. You are a 4th place team now, and you are probably going to be a 4th or 5th place team later. You're not playing for wins. You're not playing for wins and losses this year, right? You're playing for pride, and you're playing for momentum into 2026. And so, why are you giving your star player, your former MVP, who has had 2 severe lower leg injuries already, why are you giving him the decision to play on a sore Achilles? You make this decision for him. And when I say you, I'm talking about the medical staff, and I'm talking about manager Brian Snitker, who makes the lineup. He has told us he's in charge of the lineup. He makes the lineup. You don't give Ronald the decision here. You don't give him the ability to say he can play. Your job is to protect the player from himself. Almost every single MLB player is going to say, I can play. Put me in the lineup. Your job is to say no. You are going to sit for 2 days. We'll go to an MRI facility here in Kansas City. We'll get you checked out. If 2 days of rest is helpful and the MRI comes back clean, maybe you can get back in the lineup on Thursday against Cincinnati. Your job as a medical staff, as a manager, as a coaching staff in general, is to protect the player from themselves. This should not have been a debate. This should not have been a discussion. He should not have had the ability to lobby you to get back into the game. And so now, because he feels like he missed a lot of time early in the year, now he's going to miss at least 10 more days. He's heading back to Atlanta to get an MRI, to get checked out. We don't know how long he will miss. This could be 10 days. This could be the rest of the season. It's obviously not a ruptured Achilles, right? He walked off the field. You're not doing that if it's a ruptured Achilles. But could this be a partial tear? We don't know the severity of this. Ronald was asked if he was worried. And he said, quote, yeah, of course. I mean, it's an injury. I'm worried. Now, he did clarify it wasn't the pop and an extreme, agony that comes with a ruptured Achilles. Quote, it's more pain, but I feel it a lot when I try to put pressure on it. There is absolutely zero reason that Ronald should have been given the ability to even lobby to get into this game. And listen, I've never been a fire the manager guy. I'm just not, okay? He's going to be gone after the season anyway. He's not been perfect. The issue is more of player underperformance than Brian Snitker. I've never been a fire the manager guy. But if this is some sort of serious injury that has some sort of lingering effect, even if it's just limited to the rest of this year, you got to just hold him out, okay? The quotes from Brian Snitker. Oh my gosh. Okay, here's one. Quote, it bothered him a little bit, but he wanted to keep trying to play. When he went to the line to get that ball and then went into the gap, and that's on the Pasquantino double, I was like, he's going to end up hurting it worse. Quote, it's just one of those things that you just deal with it. It's not fun dealing with it. It's not easy dealing with it, but you just have to. No, you don't. You don't have to deal with him trying to play on an injured Achilles. It's different if this is October. It's different if this is the playoffs. It's different if you have a 1-game lead in the final week of the season to win the division or to make the playoffs or not make the playoffs. This team was 45-60 when you made this decision. 15 games below 500. You should not have had to deal with this. You sit the player, you tell him, I don't care that you want to play. I'm sorry. We are not going to let you potentially further injure your Achilles in games that do not matter. This should never have been a discussion. This should never have been a debate. He should never have been in that game last night. And I know everybody's wanted to fire Brian Snitker all year. And I have not been that guy. But this is the thing, especially if it comes back that Ronald has some sort of lingering injury. Like, that he made it worse by playing, and he's going to miss the rest of the season, or God forbid, sometime next year. This is the thing that is a fireable offense. And there's Brian Snitker defenders on social media. Hey, they wouldn't have put him in there if the medical staff didn't clear him. If the medical staff did clear him, fire them too. You do not let an injured player play in a meaningless game when he can make this significantly worse. You want to know how bad it was for him? Here's a quote from Ronald about playing defense. Quote, "I was kind of hoping they wouldn't hit it my way. And of course, anytime you do that, they always hit it to you." If nothing else, put him in the DH spot. This is organizational malpractice, and I did not expect to be this mad about it when I turned the camera on this morning. But not even knowing, listen, I don't know the roster move. Maybe we're going to end up with Jared Kelenic back on this roster, which would just be insult to injury. I think Carlos Rodriguez should get called up. Eli White's probably the starter in right field. Rodriguez gets a little bit of time as a backup, and he rotates in and all that kind of stuff. But listen, this should never have happened. And the fact that it did, I can't remember a time this season when I've been more pissed at this coaching staff, training staff, organization than I am right now. In just a minute, I'm going to take a few deep breaths. We're going to talk about Hurston Waldrep, okay? I was wondering if they were going to call him up to make a major league start. They traded for Eric Fetty and Carlos Carrasco to not have to do that. And instead, he gave us the best start of his season in Triple-A. Let's talk about that next, right here on Braves Today. Welcome back to a special bonus episode of Braves Today. Lindsay Crosby. I want to talk about Hurston Waldrep's start because we covered this a while back where he made that change prior to his start on May 8th. He had 4 good starts, 2 bad starts, 1 good start, 3 bad starts, and now he's on a straight of 3 straight. The mechanics feel like they're starting to stick. But this was one of the best starts of his career here. 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts on 84 pitches. And the splitter has always been his best pitch. His slider's really good. The 2 things that have kind of stopped him from being fantastic is just the pedestrian shape of his fastball and his overall fastball command. And we've seen him make moves to try to mitigate both of those things. I feel like the first thing, the mechanical changes, was to help him be more accurate with his fastball. He was in the zone 56% of the time with the fastball last night, which is better than he's shown in the past. And the thing is, here's the thing. His combo of stuff, the fastball, the slider, and the splitter, have a ton of overlap on the movement profiles out of the hand. They tunnel really well. All 3 of these things tunnel really well. His curveball is the only thing that is significantly different. And even then, it's still a little bit of a later breaking curveball. What he did to try to minimize the poor shape of the fastball is he just used it less. 42% fastball usage. He only threw it. He averaged 94 on it. His average this season has been 95.8 or so. So he took a little bit off of it to have a little bit better control to go along with the better mechanics. He used it a little bit less. And instead, to establish another pitch in the zone that he can then use to to play the splitter off of, he threw the slider. He threw the slider in the zone almost 70% of the time. They swung 12 times. They whiffed on those 3. They put 5 into play. None of them were hard hit balls off the slider because with the late break on the slider, they never solidly got it on the barrel. And then he played off of both of those with the splitter. 6 whiffs on 11 swings. They only put 2 into play. The hardest one put into play was 89.5 miles an hour. The other one was 52.8. So it's a little bit atypical of the way that you would think of Spencer Strider. It's a lot of fastballs playing the slider off of it. This is fastball and slider together to establish strikes, and then the splitter off of it. And the slider averaged like 86, 87 miles an hour. So it's not fully a cutter, but it's a little cutter-ish. He's using it more like a cutter than he is using it like a typical slider. And so I really like how he did some of this stuff. And I mentioned he's had some good starts recently. The last 4 starts, 23 innings, he's allowed 2 total earned runs in the month of July. This is his ERA is 4.42. It's the lowest it's been all season, right? It was really bad early in the year. He is getting better. I wanted them to call him up for a start before they traded for both Vetty and Carrasco. I think you're at the situation now where they may need to use him, but in all likelihood, they just hold off on him, let him continue doing minor league stuff the rest of the year. Let him continue in the minors, continue cementing these mechanics. And if not having AJ Smith-Shawver, and with not having AJ Smith-Shawver and not having Grant Holmes, we're expecting next year, means assuming everybody else comes back healthy, you've got Schwellenbach, you've got Sale, you've got Strider, you've got Lopez. Hurston Waldrep can be another option that can keep you from having to let Bryce Elder be in your rotation to start the year, right? You'll have Joey Wentz. I believe you'll have Dane Dunning. I think he has additional control. You'll have Dane Dunning. You'll have Joey Wentz. You'll have Hurston Waldrep. You may have other prospects out of the minors, right? You may let J.R. Ritchie and Blake Burkhalter compete for rotation spots. And this doesn't even count if they go out and sign a guy in free agency. Talked about this a few times. I was waiting for after the trade deadline to do a future look, but like the different directions you can go with the 2026 offseason. If you look at the pitching class, there's a bunch of big names in the pitching class, and it will be significantly cheaper for Atlanta to sign a qualifying offer guy because they reset the CBT, right? Framber Valdez is going to be out there. Michael King is out there. Dylan Cease is out there. Zach Gallen is out there. Lots of options that we can do here. Very end of the show, we just got the update. Jared Kelenic was recalled to Atlanta, not Carlos Rodriguez. I hate this. Jared Kelenic does not need to be anywhere near this team. He's been terrible all season. I don't think he needs to play. And my worry is that rather than just let Eli White run with the job, they're going to let Jared play half the time or the entire time, and this might be his final hurrah before he's non-tendered this offseason. Gosh darn it. This has been Braves Today for Wednesday, July 30th. Reminder, we're coming back tomorrow with a live show after the trade deadline to break down the Marcell Ozuna return, Raisel Iglesias return, whatever else that we might see. Do me a favor, if you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we drop the next episode. And until next time, this has been Braves Today.